Welcome to the Echo Ratings Eventing podcast, and listeners, it is the Burnham Market review show, very kindly supported by our great friends at Equiloom. And I'm just going to set the scene for you. So we have literally come off air from H&C Plus, where all of the live coverage has been. Ben King is sat alongside me. We are still buzzing because it has been the most incredible weekend of sport, and we have just seen Oliver Townend extend his reign as the king of Burnham Market. Just the most extraordinary record. Ben, first of all, what a privilege to be back at Burnham Market. The sun's been shining, the sport has been amazing.
The weekend has been absolutely amazing. I mean, nail-biting to the end. It's had a real sort of party atmosphere, holiday atmosphere. It's been a real family event with some amazing world-class eventing. Oliver Townend delivering, as you've just alluded to, winning not just one section but both sections of the 4-star short here. And yeah, just a great day of competition. A great couple of days of competition, actually. And we'll start with the second of these 4-star sections, because that's the one that, you know, we have literally just seen Oliver Townend take the second of his wins here. And it was Swallow Springs, so the Andrew Nicholson ride, who actually, he could afford to be 4 seconds over the time, nothing more, to go ahead of Bob Chaplin and Tom McEwen, and he cruised round. And I said at the start of his round, he went away from the first water, and I said, I'm not sure he's pushing for the time. But you can never really tell with Oliver, and you can never tell with Swallow Springs, because he has such a high cruising speed, and he doesn't take any setting up for combinations. He's very easy in that respect. He could afford 4 seconds, and he was 4 seconds. I mean, I can't help but feel that Oliver just judged that exactly as he needed to judge it. Oh, it was a perfectly judged round. As we did say during the commentary, is he going, is he not? But we didn't want to commit to saying, oh no, he definitely isn't, because Swallow Springs just so deceptive.
Who knows with Oliver? Who knows? But I would say a superb performance, and Swallow Springs looks an absolute picture. The bit that stands out for me, 24.6, his first phase score is getting lower and lower. Bodes very, very well for badminton. Tom McEwen, Bob Chaplin, very, very impressive. They finished on their dressage score to take second, and Piggy March, Brookfield Innocent. I'll just put an apology out there, listeners. I said on the preview show, oh, I'm not sure Piggy's going to run, you know. She ran really well at Thorsby. Does he need another run? Anyway, he is a horse that enjoys to run, and very much the plan was to run. It was a fair cross-country test. It was a proper cross-country test, and it was a good ground. And so they cracked on and enjoyed him, and he looked brilliant. And I would be honest and say he looked like he could have gone round again inside the time. Did not look under any pressure, was highly impressive. So very, very good from Piggy. But Tom Jackson, who finished in 4th, Ben, had a great weekend at the office, and actually in the 4-star, I would say he really made it his own.
Yeah, no, I think Tom Jackson really highlighted what a good rider he is. I mean, he had a number of horses in this 4-star, and I think he put 3 or 4 of them inside the time. Off the Firefly in that section C, the second of those 4-star sections, finished in 4th place, 29.2. You know, he's not far off the leader, only 3 marks off there, and Tom Jackson is definitely a name to look out for this season, because he's got a really good string of horses in his yard.
He has, and Capel's Hollow Drift, actually, his badminton ride went really well in one of the other national sections here, and certainly his preparation there looked to be very successful. Nicola Wilson, Cool Park Sargo, the Blenheim 8 9-year-old winners were also in the top 10, but I'd do a little shout out to some up-and-coming names in the top 10 in this section. Laura Schroeder, Willem van Wapen, Will Rawlin. I think this will be Will's best performance at 4-star level. Great to see him with the partner in there, Susie Berry, another ride for her. Sasha Hargreaves, and then Danny Dunn as well. So the top 10 was rounded out by some very, very good up-and-coming young riders. The other 4-star section, I mean, it's basically the Burnham Market show, is Oliver Townend show, isn't it? You know, it's the Oliver Townend show at Burnham Market, because he just absolutely loves it here. And he actually had a 1-2 in the other section. Dreamliner was a winner at the level for the very first time, 26.8, and a horse that looked to be very workmanlike cross-country.
Workmanlike, but a real decisive winner at 26.8 there, 3-phase score. Tregilda, 30.3, so it was a decisive victory there for Dreamliner and Oliver Townend, but not just winning, it's not good enough for Oliver. He has to take the 1-2 spot ahead of Izzy Taylor and Hartaka, 31.0 in 3rd place.
Yeah, it was Tregilder for Oliver that took second, actually, and the horse looked very, very good. Izzy will be very pleased with Heartacker in third. I'll tell you who she won't be pleased with, though, Ben, and that is Monkeying Around, who should have been on top of the podium in the other section that we've just spoken about. But I've got to say, my arms went up when he had a very, very naughty run out early on.
What a monkey he was, really living up to his name at a very sort of inconspicuous fence, one could say. Just, some offset panels on the one stride running up a hill. Got there on a lovely stride and just at the last moment said, no thank you.
He literally just ducked out the side door. And I'll be honest, I feel really bad for Izzy in so much as, he got a bit of a reputation as a young horse of having some naughty 20 penalties and naughty run-outs and that kind of thing. And in reality, he didn't have many, but he had them at high-profile shows when in contention. And so the reputation sort of was garnered. And he's really sort of put that behind him last season. And everybody was talking about how he's grown up and had some great results on the board. And I'd be fascinated to hear what Izzy would say about that run-out. She actually was then held on course and opted to retire a little bit later on. Because it was just so surprising, bearing in mind how well he has been running. But look, it's horses, and really frustrating for her. Gaspard Maxud, who Spike, I think it was, put up on the preview show, and they put in a super performance. Gaspard with Zaragoza finished in 4:31.6, and that horse, I think, best result for him at the 4-star level.
And he looked really impressive on a lot of his horses running in the 4-star short. Gaspard was definitely a rider that I think we're going to see on some championships teams for France in the not too distant future. I was really impressed with the way he rode around this track, because it was a track that threw up a lot of questions, a lot of problems, but Gaspard must have really made it happen.
I mean, don't get me wrong, because there's a long way to go between now and the World Championships in Protoni, and Zaragoza is only a 9-year-old, so would be stepping up. I'm sure he's only a 9-year-old. Would be stepping up to 4-star long level at some point in the not too distant future. But would be a horse that you could absolutely see flying up and down the hills in Protoni, couldn't you? Real sort of athlete cross country, very fast, very whizzy. And I'm fascinated to see where their partnership goes, but very exciting for Gaspard. Heidi Coy had a real weekend of ups and downs, actually. Russell Z was super and went inside the time and took 5th place, but she was absolutely flying on Helensa, and she had a fall very late on at a fairly innocuous fence when going very, very well, and should have been in contention for another top 10 finish. So frustrating for her, and the highs and lows really coming through. Piggy March, Veneer Chimera, they looked in great form, actually. Tilly Bean looking brilliant cross country, and she's a funny horse because she comes into her own at the big 5 stars, and she doesn't always give the sort of the biggest feeling or the biggest kind of vision over the one-day tracks, but she really did here. But it was a tough track, and I think she relished it. Yeah,
I mean, we're 3 weeks away from the Big B, Bablington, and then Chimera and Piggy March. I think she'll be delighted with the way they've gone. They've got that all-important clear in the show jumping and really travelled really smoothly around this track. So a great prep run before the Bablington, and it's going to be really exciting to see what they go and do in 3 weeks' time.
Piggy's going with 2 great chances as she looks to defend her title. Gemma Tattersall also went very well, Tom Jackson likewise, and I would do a special mention for Clark Johnston, who has had some lovely horses. It's brilliant to see him here competing on British soil. Over from New Zealand, he's got a great team of horses, some exciting new additions to his string, and Menlo Park, a horse that was actually produced up to 3-star level by Tim Boland over in Australia. Clark took on the ride at the end of last year. They won 1 3-star short, and then this was the horse's first run at 4-star, and he looked very, very good. So lots to like from them. And in the 3-star short, it was also a competition that was actually decided very, very early on, because Tom McEwen, who was number 2, listeners, so you can imagine how early on he went, but he led from the front in all 3 phases, 24.2 dressage with Brookfield Benjamin Bounce, and he couldn't be beaten. He was very, very impressive, running out a very healthy winner ahead of Mark Davidson, who looked brilliant with Cooley Goodwood, and Mark Bass with Piggy, and he's getting a real name for himself and building his own nice team of horses.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's really nice to see Mark having a good result here, because he's sort of ridden as Piggy Stables jockeys for a couple of years, and now making his own, getting some really nice horses and really showing what he can do And great result there on Cooley Goodwood to finish second behind Brookfield, Benjamin Bounce and Tom McEwen. Another good result back in third there, Class Vista, Flora Harris, 29.3. I say she'll be absolutely delighted in securing a podium position there on Class Vista.
Yeah, and then I would just do a special mention for two horses in 4th and 5th in the 3-star. Carlingford's He's a Clover, Lizzie Boff, who are very, very promising, and Grande by Design, Emma Manton, two really young riders. Phoebe Hughes actually could be classed in that. She finished 6th as well with Top Beats, but 3 very young riders that are really making a name for themselves and finished ahead of some very, very good riders. In the advance, because my goodness, listeners, we have had some amazing competition, and there was a whole host of very, very good horses and riders in the 4 stars, the 3 stars, but we had national classes as well, and it was advanced at section N, I think it was, that Bobby Upton took the top spot with Cannavaro, but she had 3 inside the top 10. Cannavaro won, He's Lamoulan bound, Jefferson 18 went very, very well for a fast round in 3rd, and then she had Clever Louis in 10th as well. So a very, very good weekend at the office for Bobby. Another very good weekend because she actually comes here off the back of a successful weekend as joint leading rider at Thoresby.
And we're just talking about how good Tom Jackson is, and then he was in 4th place in that advanced section on his Bablington Bound ride, Chapels Hollows Drift. So yeah, some great results there for riders heading to Bablington in that advanced section.
I'm looking forward to seeing how it all plays out now, because Ben, it feels like this was a big weekend, wasn't it? You know, everybody was making their final preparation, and there was some nervous faces around because they wanted a good run. So they all had something different that they wanted. Did they want a fast run? Did they want a steady run? Did they want a sort of a fitness run? It was very much, horses for courses, but there'll be plenty of people that are going home relieved. However, there were also plenty of people that will be going home thinking, I've got a bit of homework to do, because Alex set a really tough course, Alec Lahore, didn't he?
No, he set a really tough course, and it was nice to see. There was sort of, not I say nice to see, but it was really well designed, and there was problems smattered all over the course. It wasn't just one particular fence or one particular area. There were problems all over the course, which shows just what a great design track it was.
It's interesting, we talked about Burnham Market, and the feeling might have been the worry about the ground. We've not had much rain, and would we see hard ground? Well, they worked unbelievably hard on the ground, and actually it was very, very good, and they were rewarded with some people running, well, pretty much everybody ran their horses. They took advantage of the good ground, and they ran them pretty competitively. And I would say fair play to the team at Musketeer, because Alec had actually also, it's been a difficult couple of years with knowing where to pitch things with, COVID and horses not having had runs and bringing events onto the calendar. And I'd have been the first to say, and I've said it before, that I found the track that was here a couple of years ago when we had the 8 and 9-year-old class in the 4-star long format, it was pretty straightforward. And I didn't want to see that this weekend, but you know what? We absolutely didn't. We saw a top class 4-star track that was a proper 4-star, and we saw people learning from it even when things didn't all go their way.
And I think Alec was rewarded with a lot of the horses running. There was very few withdrawals because he was out on the tractor himself late into the night.
He was pretty good on a tractor, was Alec, actually.
Was, yeah. Making sure that ground was as good as it possibly could be for these 4-star horses, because he knew so many of them were having their last run before Bablington.
It's been a brilliant weekend. Ben, it has been a pleasure, as always. Listeners, we hope it's a pretty atmospheric final podcast, I would have thought, because actually, just to give you a little insight, the generators are all running outside. We've got fences being undressed. We've got all sorts going on, but it is also well gone 7 o'clock at night, because there were various holds on course, and so things ran pretty late. And I would say a massive shout out to the whole team, and this goes for any event, because it takes a massive army of volunteers, and they did a brilliant job. And very, very grateful to them all for giving up their time and doing it so well. So helped by the glorious sunshine, but even so, big hats off to you all. Anyway, Ben, I'm going to actually let you drive home now. You were just about to leave, and I said, Ben, come into a podcast. So thank you very much.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure, and what a way to start the Easter weekend some great competition, and I can't wait for 3 weeks' time. In 3 weeks today, it will be cross country day.
The big one. It's the big one.
one.
Oh, can't wait. Look, guys, we hope you've enjoyed Burnham Market as much as we have. We have got so much coming your way over the next couple of weeks, obviously building up to Kentucky. We've got badminton previews, we've got everything, and a couple of really special behind the scenes shows with owners, with riders, you name it, it is coming in your direction. So look, we'll be back very soon with more, but a big thanks to Ben, and a big thank you to you guys for listening, and of course our great friends at Equilume for their support of our coverage here at Burnham Market.